everybody. Welcome to Acting from All Angles. This is the Facebook Live for Actors in Action. And today we have a super amazing, fun session we're going to do. We're going to be talking to Amy Arburn, one of my acting students who is in LA now, and she just booked a pilot. So we're going to ask her a few questions. And we are trying to bring her on live here. We may have a few technical difficulties. But Amy, if you're in there, she says she wants to be on my video. Approve. Works. Bring them on camera. Add. I've never done this before. I can't bring our on camera.
I'm here!
Yes! Oh my gosh! I'm so
I figured it out!
Yay!
I'm gonna try and find a spot that you're like up. Sorry, guys.
You're totally fine. This is so exciting, Amy. I'm so excited you're here. So
I've got my little pop socket. Okay. This
Awesome.
is kind of a weird angle, but we're just gonna go with it.
No, it's perfect. You look awesome. So I'm so excited about this. Yay!
Me too.
So great. So people too that are watching, if you want to ask Amy a question, you can just put it in the comments and I will totally, she'll answer. She said she would answer anything you asked her, within reason. So,
yeah.
So
as best I can. I don't know everything. But
I know she doesn't know everything, but she knows a lot. So just to go back to what this Facebook Live is about. So these are the ABCEFs of acting, and this is determination, what we're talking about now, because Amy's been a very determined young lady, and she's been in LA for just over a year now. Is that correct? Right?
September of 2017 is when I got here.
Okay, cool. And she worked with me for a couple of years in class. And she just really grew. And I pulled her aside one day and said, Amy, I have a plan for you.
It's time.
It's time. And even though it always breaks my heart when my students go off, but it's good for them. So we have some questions. So we just want you to tell us a little bit what the process was of getting this opportunity to audition for a pilot. How did that happen? What did you have to do?
Sure. Well, I was able to get into the room because of my manager. So my manager is who knows the casting director, has the relationship with the casting director. I think it's important to note for anyone watching out there who's like, this can't happen if you don't have an agent. I don't have a theatrical agent yet, so you can do it. You can get in the room without an agent, and a manager is great that way. So a lot of the auditions, this one was particularly rare because it was in person, and a lot of stuff happening nowadays is tapes. So this was an exciting opportunity in itself because I was actually going to be in the room with the casting director and reading. So yeah, and I've been with my manager for not even a year. Like we're approaching a year. March, it will be a year. So it's taken a while to get to this opportunity, but I'm very grateful for it.
That's great. Can you tell us how you got the manager? Because a lot of people go to LA and they're like, I don't even know how to get an agent. I don't know how to get a manager. What was your process with that?
Sure. So I got an IMDb Pro account, which is, I think it's like $90, $100 for the year. And it's absolutely worth it for just this reason. If you're looking for well, you should have one anyways if you're an actor, but especially if you're looking for an agent or manager, because there's a side of the site that lists all accredited, I guess, agents and managers. So I just looked up those lists. I started with agents. I got a couple of bites, sent in materials and didn't hear back, but then I moved on to managers, and I submitted my reel, my headshot, my resume, and just every day I committed to myself that I was going to send 3 out. So I just had a form email, and then I would customize it a little bit based on the agency or management company. And I just sent for a couple of months. And then someone bit. My managers are Artwork Entertainment, and they called me in and interviewed me and just had a really nice conversation. And it felt right. So that's how it happened.
Great. That's wonderful. And they're getting you out to auditions, and that's really the bottom line. It doesn't really matter. You could be with a huge agent. You could be with UTA or William Morris Endeavor or whatever, but if they're not getting you out, it doesn't matter. So you can get somebody who can send you out. That's awesome. Cool. Okay, so talk to me a little bit about how you prepared for the audition. We're just going to go blow by blow with this. So what did you do to prepare?
Well, it's a smaller part. I only had 2 lines, and sometimes that's almost more overwhelming when it's a smaller thing, because it's like, how can I bring something to the table and feel prepared when you're just preparing a couple of lines. But I did what we did in class. I broke down the script, found the beats, found my verbs. I also created a backstory for myself. I think that that's really important. I was playing a restaurant hostess, so I was like, how long have I worked at this place? What's my relationship with my coworkers? Is this the job, or am I aiming for something else? So I asked those questions about who I was and made sure I had those in the back of my mind. And I think more importantly, I asked those questions about the other people in the room. Also, worth noting is they send you, at least my manager does, the entire script. So I got the entire script for the pilot episode. So I read all of that. Just wanted to be able to place my little scene within the context of the episode and the story. So I got to know the characters that I was in the scene with through that process a little better, and was able to place them within my life as my character. So I asked, who are they to me? What kind of relationship do I have with them? Do I know them well? Am I afraid of them? Do I admire them? I just really made sure that I had very detailed stories for every character, and not just my character in my head, because then you can develop that internal narrative, I think, and just carry that with you while you're acting.
That's great. Awesome. So tell us about what the audition was like. Like, where did you go? When you walked in? Just the by blow, so we can imagine that and see what it's like. And again, to our audience out there, if you have questions you want to ask Amy, feel free to just type them in the comments, and we will answer them. So what was it like? I want people to experience what an LA pilot casting would be. I know it was a small role, but it's amazing that you booked a pilot. That's such a great start. It's such a great thing. So go ahead and tell us the blow by blow.
Okay, well, I was in West Hollywood, as a lot of them are. And I got a great parking spot, which I felt like was just such a great way to start the day. And I think I didn't have to pay my meter, because the person who had parked there before had way overpaid. So things were just really looking great from the beginning. I walked in, it was a smaller office, a lot like if any of you auditioned for Jeff Johnson in Utah. It was a lot like Jeff's. There's a little lobby area. There were like 4 other girls waiting at the time, but I'm sure they went on for much longer than that and had lots of people. I waited for like 20 minutes-ish, and then once I got in the room, the casting director was so friendly, which was, she asked me where I was from and kind of broke the ice a little bit, which I thought was really great, because then once we did dive into the material, I just felt comfortable and safe and able to really play and show them what I could do. So not every casting office is like that, but I felt really grateful for her and the energy that she brought forward, because it made me feel like I could do my best. And I got 3 takes. One of them, she said at the end, she was like, just do one for you. Like, okay, great. And then I said, thank you very much. And I left. And I definitely didn't feel like nailed it, totally booked that role. I think it's really hard to judge your own performance, at least for me. But I didn't feel like it went terrible. So I found that to be a success in itself. And then I pride myself on being able to just kind of let it go after it's over. But the experience itself was pretty great.
Cool. That's awesome. So it was good omens, the parking and everything. You should have known. Yeah. You should have known. You're like, I'm going to book this.
That doesn't for anyone watching. Don't get
cool. Yeah. Okay, so now tell us about the process. How long did it take for you to get the call? You booked it, Amy. How long did that take?
It happened really fast. So I believe I auditioned on a Thursday afternoon, around noon. And then I had a class that night. And as I was walking into class, or I think I was already in class because I didn't answer the call, but I saw I had missed a call from my manager. And then they texted me and said, Amy, great job today. You've been forwarded over to the network for approval. And that was the night of.
Wow.
And I had no idea what that really meant. And I still don't really know what that means, but I knew it was a good sign because if they're forwarding it along to network, then I was at least in the running for the role. And then the next day, my manager called me. So I auditioned Thursday and got the news on Friday that I had booked it and that they were sending over an offer. So it very fast. It all happened very fast.
Yeah, it often does. When it happens really quickly. So that's really exciting. That's great. Just looking at my notes here. So then how soon after did you film it? You booked it on, you auditioned Friday, you auditioned Thursday, you booked it Friday. When did you shoot?
So I shot the following Saturday.
Okay.
Yes, it was supposed to be the following Tuesday. So not the coming Tuesday after the Friday I heard, but the following one. But then I got a call and they pushed it forward, which happens all the time.
Right.
Production schedules change. And then I had a fitting the Thursday before.
Okay.
Shot Saturday. So a week okay. After I.
So see how fast it can happen. It can happen. It will happen generally. Sometimes it can happen slowly. It just depends, but it can happen really fastly. Okay, so can you tell us, for the people that are here watching that maybe don't really know any of this, pretty newbies, what does it mean that you got a pilot, and what happens next?
Those are great questions. I can't say I have all of the answers or know exactly how the process works because this is my first pilot. But from my understanding and just kind of asking questions on set, we filmed this one episode. It's I actually don't know if I can say that.
You probably can't talk about what it is, and you don't have to, but
basically the network will look at what was produced and decide from there if they want to greenlight more episodes. I think it would be 12. I think. So there, so now I think it's just a waiting game, and I'll hear news if it's good news.
Hopefully. Right. Yeah.
I have no idea what it looks like, if it's a quick turnaround, if I'll hear months from now. No idea, but
you'll have to keep us posted, definitely. But so basically, a pilot is just the first episode of a series, right?
Yes.
And then it goes to network, and they're like, "Do we like this? Oh, that hostess girl, and it was so great. Yes, let's pick it up." And then they turn it into something that becomes the next Game of Thrones, and it's amazing. Hopefully. Hopefully.
Really like shoot for the stars.
Shoot for the stars. Why not? Okay, cool. Some people ask me about SAG. I just have a couple more questions, but about a SAG card.
Sure.
And you got your SAG card doing this show, so which is awesome. But you were SAG eligible before, weren't you?
I was a month at that point.
So you could have just joined at any time. So you were a must join. So when you got this job, you had to join. So tell me about, because I always tell my students, if you go to LA, you need to be SAG. But you were SAG, non-SAG for a whole year. So tell me about that, which I was surprised, and you auditioned a ton for lots of, so just tell us a little bit the pros and cons in being SAG.
Well, I think in the film and television world, being SAG, I mean, I was not a member when I auditioned for this part, so it's not, you don't have to be SAG to get those kinds of rooms. I think it's beneficial for you to say you're eligible, so that, you know, if we did want to hire her, she could just pay the dues and hop right in. I think the real difference maker is in the commercial world. Is that if we talk about that?
Absolutely. I totally want you to talk about commercials. Yeah.
Okay. So in the commercial world, it's definitely a hot topic right now. A lot of commercials nowadays, the majority of commercials nowadays are not union jobs, which is crazy and terrible. Of judging from speaking to other actors and people in casting, it's newer. That's not how it used to be. It used to be that pretty much any commercial you did was a union gig, and just the way it worked. And actors were getting paid fair wages. But nowadays, like basically car companies and fast food chains and are the only that are union gigs. But there's so much going on out here. It's not like you're not going to get auditions once you do join the union. But I mean, like you said, I wasn't a member my first year. I did book non-union jobs, and that's sometimes what you have to do to sort of jumpstart your career, to pay the bills, to whatever. But I think as soon as you can join and you do get that call like I got, like don't hesitate, join, because then you are entering a different sector of actors, and that's scary. I feel scared, but it's such a huge milestone. So I think it's not, if you don't have it, to everyone out there, if you don't have it, that's okay. But when the opportunity, not like, do it, because every from that point forward, every audition you go to commercially is going to be work that's going to like change your life if you were to book it.
Right. So, so you could have joined right when you got there because you were SAG eligible. So why didn't you? Because you wanted to be able to audition for non-union stuff and build up your reel, or what was the thinking with that? I'm just curious.
I wanted to be able to audition for non-union stuff, and honestly, I'm really grateful for that opportunity. I got a lot of repetitions in because there is more non-union work out there. I got a lot of auditioning that way. So I'm grateful for that. And then I'm sorry, say your question.
So why didn't you had the ability to join
But
right when you got there? Why didn't you? Because
I had a lot of advice from people not to do it until I had to. It is expensive to join. You do start paying them a portion of what you make. Right. So if we're doing SAG gigs, then you'd be paying them. So I just received advice from actors and fellow actors not to join until I absolutely had to. I don't know.
That's great. That's really good advice, because I always tell my actors, join, get out there and join. They won't take you seriously. And, it sounds like maybe the better information is if you're not SAG yet, but you really need to be probably SAG eligible when you get out there, and it's your first opportunity to join, then join.
Exactly.
But not till then.
I don't think not having your SAG card is a deal breaker in any sense. I would be more focused on getting credits on your resume that are gonna show them, because I think that's very common that actors join until they have to. They just want to see you've worked. You've been on a set. You're going to be professional. You know what's required of you. So that would be right. Don't focus so much on your union status. Focus on building up that resume so that they know, regardless of your union status, the person knows what it's like to work.
Right. That's awesome. Cool. Yeah. Cool. Thanks for that. I'm going to pass that advice on. I think that's really, really smart. Just a couple more things. We're going way over our 10-minute limit today, but I don't care. We've got Amy here, and I want to just ask her everything we can. Again, if anybody's out there that wants to ask Amy questions, just type them in the comments and we will answer them.
If once you post this, if they want to comment, I'll be sure to look at it.
Yeah. So if you watch this, for everybody who's not watching it live, you can also post comments and Amy will answer them. So, which is really cool. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So I think I just have pretty much one last question. Do you have any tips for? Oh, hey, Michelle. Michelle's saying, hey, hi. Do you have any tips for actors who are wanting to move to a major market? You started in Salt Lake, and you built up your reel, and you did a lot of stuff here. You took classes, you got trained, and then you moved to LA. So can you tell them any little tricks or tips or anything that would maybe help them make that move to New York or LA or whatever?
Absolutely. Well, I think I'm so grateful for my time in Salt Lake. It provided me with so many opportunities that I don't know if I would have had out here. I was able to build my resume and get great footage for my reel. So I would say before you plan to move to the bigger market, take advantage of the smaller one. Get those, those Lifetime movies, and get the repetitions in when you're in that smaller market and it's kind of a smaller pool of actors. So I wouldn't give anything for the experience I had in Utah in the small market, and I think it actually did help me sort of stand out as someone newer to LA, because the impression I think is, oh, you're a baby in LA, you never worked a day in your life, you're new to this city. And I had worked because I had the opportunity in a smaller market. My other advice is, I think, obvious one: save that money, because this is that'll kill you. I know a lot of actors scrambling around just trying to survive here because it is far more expensive than where smaller markets are. If you can, while you're still, before you make the move, if you can sort of lay the groundwork for flexible work that you can do remotely from your apartment, or something that will just allow you to really focus your days on the craft and being available to audition and take classes. So those are my big pieces of advice: is use the smaller market to your advantage and get the experience, and really save so that you're not feeling this business is stressful enough, you know. So if you can eliminate the stress of living, then that's a game changer.
Yeah, that's the same advice I would give other people too. In experience, it's so important to have money and to have a flexible job that you can audition. You really can't work a 9 to 5 and audition. You just can't. It's too stressful. It's too hard. And you were really smart because you worked in this great company here in Salt Lake, and you worked it out that you would work part-time remotely, which is great. If guys, you can figure that out, something like that. That's really, really cool, because you need that flexibility. It's just impossible without it. Okay, cool. Do you want to tell us anything else that might be relevant or fun or good for us? Like how do you feel like, do you have friends there? Do you have a support system? Talk maybe a little bit about that, and anything else you want to say as we're wrapping up here.
I do. I think I have, considering I've only been here, I think I have an incredible support group. I'm lucky enough to have one of my mom's oldest, closest friends that lives here. So her and her husband have been really great support system for me, just being away from my own family. And, just if you have even just one friend in LA, that can sort of have this domino effect, because we're all, especially if they're also in the industry, we're all in it together, and we all know how crazy and sometimes lonely it can be. So if you even have one friend, just like, go to an event with them, go get lunch with them, and let them sort of introduce you to their circle, and then that circle has a circle, and it just keeps on. And that's so important here. I think one of the biggest, most wonderful pieces of advice I got before I moved here was from, and also, hi Jeff.
Was from who? I'm
Jeff
sorry.
Johnson.
Okay, yeah, Jeff. Yeah.
Our director in Utah. He said, build yourself a life when you're there. Don't bury yourself in the work. I mean, be ambitious and put yourself out there and keep your eye on the prize, but build a life for yourself, because there's a lot of rejection. There's a lot of no. There's a lot of, it's very slow, and that can be a marathon, not a sprint, as they say, and that can be really scary and frustrating sometimes. So having a support group is so, so important. And I can't stress that enough, really. But let's see, what else would I say to people considering moving? I think artists never think they're good enough or ready. And I understand that, because I felt the same way. And I want to take the opportunity to thank you for telling me that I was ready. And that was such a confidence booster for me. So you are ready. If you're out there and you want it enough, then prepare yourself and make sure you have a safety net and be smart about it. But take the leap. Just take the leap. You can do it. If you believe you can do it, and you have people that love you and believe in you, support you, then you can do it.
That's so amazing, Amy. Thank you. That's so great to hear that kind of encouragement, because it's true. So thank you so much for being on Acting from All Angles today.
Thank you, Julianne.
So great to see how well you're doing and the success you're having, and it's an inspiration for all of us. So I'm super excited that you were here.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to check in with everybody else. So next week we are going to be talking about emotional fitness, because that's DE. Yes, it's a very important part of acting. And actually what we're going to be talking about is, this was a request, help, my kid wants to be an actor. What do I do? How to deal with that. And I have a lot of great things to say about that. So that's a very emotional, and it's going to be kind of emotional fitness and a little bit of business as well. But so tune in for that. Amy, thank you again. You are so great. Love you so much.
I love you.
Let's dance it out. Want to dance? Dance. Woo! Bye, everybody.